Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95. Join us on the text lines 4215. We've got an update on the state of COVID-19 around the world. A grim milestone. The coronavirus deaths have surpassed 1 million. The total number of cases around the world as well has surpassed 33 million. And wealth and power have not shielded wealthy countries from the power of the virus. The U.S. being the worst hit country in the world with more than 6 million COVID-19 infections and 200,000 deaths as well. Other countries around the world are grappling with the lethality of the virus as well, particularly India, which has surpassed 6 million total cases. The virus is not showing any signs of slowing down in the country.
Look, second wave, and that's what's happening, isn't it? The second wave has really got everyone. Everyone was very concerned about it in the first place anyway, and then when it's emerged, sadly, it's been claiming a lot of lives, and even in the United Kingdom, countries like that, it's just a bit of a concern, and the figures continue to rise in that country. So far, US still remains at the top, India followed by Brazil, and then Russia, as well as now Colombia. 32.9 million cases across the globe. We're very, very close to that figure of 33 million. But the worldwide death figures have now crossed 1 million lives around the world, and that's something that we're all very concerned about. More than 40% of US adults are at risk for severe disease from the virus because of high blood pressure and other conditions. That's according to Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's also said that it's not just old people in nursing homes who are losing their lives. Although the cases are rising, death rates are falling, according to another prominent speaker who's also a former U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention scientist, Dr. Cyrus Sharper, and who says that it's all about making sure that the country remains safe and precautionary measures are being followed.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the important thing here as well. Looking at what is going on around the world for a more detailed look at the major epicenters of the virus. India in particular topped 6 million after it reported 82,117 new infections over the last 24 hours. Brazil has also reported 14,318 new COVID-19 cases. In positive developments, Australia, its COVID-19 hotspot of Victoria, said its daily rise in new COVID-19 infections fell to single digits for the first time in more than 3 months as well, as they started easing some of the curbs they had imposed to control the extent of COVID-19. But yes, the second waves, that's what is alarming here, and you certainly can't get complacent or let go in any way, shape, or form as the virus continues to wreak havoc all around the world.
Yeah, I mean, we see that in the United Arab Emirates as well. Our lives are getting back to normal, and we are gradually on track. But even though there's been cases of more than 1,000 cases being reported in 2 days consecutively, but at the moment we are looking at it in a way that we make sure that our own surroundings and our own responsible actions remain in place. But speaking of stats and speaking of numbers, there's a lot of people and there's a lot of thought in general about the fact that, COVID-19, yes, it's huge because the media is making it huge. There's more people die of this than COVID, and why are we not worried about the general flu? But let's look at the 2019 figures. Over 690,000 people had died from AIDS, 400,000 from malaria in all of 2019. Nearly 1 million deaths have been attributed to coronavirus in 9 months, which is far more than the 690,000 from AIDS, 400,000 from malaria. This just goes to show that, yes, it is a pretty lethal virus. But at the moment, researchers in England as well, they've said that the case fatality rates have fallen substantially since they were peaking in April. The rate in August was around 1.5% versus more than 6% 6 weeks earlier or before August. So it just goes to show in terms of how things are also changing, with more people feeling a little bit more responsible.
Yes, more people feeling responsible, and also governments quickly adapting to a new norm as far as upping their healthcare standards and taking care of those ill with COVID-19, because early on there was a widespread shortage of medical supplies. People couldn't get their ventilators in some countries around the world, and that's caused more deaths in those countries as well. But yes, taking COVID-19 seriously is really big here. You could talk about malaria and AIDS and other illnesses all you want, but COVID-19 is particularly infectious, and the reason that it's overwhelmed the entire world is because of how quickly it can spread and make drastic changes to your body. And I saw this with people who, prior to being in contact with COVID-19 in some way or another, for instance, having a family member fall ill, they wouldn't take it too seriously. But once they see the extent of it, it's almost a surprise to whoever comes by it as well. So maybe the fact that you read all these stories, it doesn't quickly register as much, but it does have a tangible impact. And once you're around that impact, it's absolutely drastic and a life changer, and a particularly lethal virus, even to healthy young adults. So always be careful. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Not to be taken too lightly either. I mean, in a country like India, coronavirus cases tally is now topped 6 million after 82,170 new infections were recorded in the last 24 hours. Deaths from COVID-19 have risen by 1,039 in India in the last 24 hours to now 95,542, according to the latest stats from the ministry, which is about 1.6% of total cases. Globally, India remains the second highest number of country with the coronavirus infections, behind the United States, where infections had crossed 7 million last week as well. So very alarming fact, and one of the reasons why it is a very alarming virus, building on what Ahmed said, is because you don't know who's been infected, because there's so many asymptomatic cases, and that's the only worrying sign, is that you can't see the signs that a person might be infected or is, and then you frequent a lot of destinations, and that's how it's been spreading a lot as well. Well, we'll keep you posted. We'll end this grim discussion here, and then just prepare for what's coming up next on the Morning Majlis. But it is important to just remind ourselves about the situation. Up next, we'll be talking about the Sharjah schools once again. 25% have been the operational capacity is at 25%. We had a discussion with the Sharjah Private Education Authority yesterday. But now let's talk about how things are moving on. Let us know on the text lines 4215 if you are now getting back to your normal routine after hybrid learning in Sharjah schools. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis.
Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Hi everybody, good morning. Welcome back to the program. We've got a pretty big event to look forward to here in Sharjah at the Expo Center. A key consumer event that is set to be held next month, the Consumer Electronics Fashion Big Sale 2020. It's going to be held at Expo Center Sharjah after normal life and business activities resume in the United Arab Emirates, and everybody's looking forward to the discounts that are set to feature at the event. Some of the best deals in fashion, accessories, home appliances, smartphone and electronics from October 1st to October 4th.
October 1st, pencil that in your diaries, because, and I will certainly be doing that as well, because I've just come to the realization, maybe I'm a bit too late to realize that life without a phone is horrible. I've actually, in fact, now living Rania's life at the moment. So shout out to Rania. She's sadly feeling under the weather at the moment. Now I carry two phones. One for my WhatsApp data, or the information that I had on my WhatsApp in terms of documents and images, because my phone stopped working. And then I had to switch back to my old phone, but then I hadn't backed up my WhatsApp for a while. So a lot of people have been texting me, and I've been saying, who is this? And then I have to refer back to my old phone to find the contacts and say, oh, okay, it's you. And the reason why, the simple thing I could do is back up my WhatsApp on the new old phone, so that my old phone or actual phone could be back again and functioning normally. So running on two phones, life is absolutely horrible. So
yeah, it sounds just the way you described it.
It is very, very complicated. Trust me. My Snapchat is in one account, Instagram on the other, WhatsApp on the other. So yeah, life is very, very difficult. Contact list on the other. Let's not forget that. So 1st of October, I'll definitely be down at this big sale 2020, hosted by the Sharjah Expo Centre, and the Expo Electronics exhibition, held from 17th to the 19th of September, was hosted recently and was the first ever event hosted by the Expo Centre since the outbreak of the pandemic. And Saif Mohammed Al-Midfa, the CEO of Expo Centre Sharjah, is really looking forward to this. And we're saying that it will be the perfect opportunity for people to grab the latest brands at a competitive price.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not an opportunity to miss here as well. One of the biggest sales of consumer electronics and fashion products taking place in the Emirate of Sharjah, which has seen a remarkable jump as far as consumer spending when compared to the National Disinfection Program period back in March. We've seen that significant jump happen over the months of August and this month in particular. And aside from big discounts at the event on fashion and electronics, another key attraction of the event will be a long lineup of retailers who are looking at offloading their inventory of premium brand products at excellent, cheap prices.
Yep, of course. Entry to the Consumer Electronics Show, as well as fashion, because a couple of retailers will be joining us. It will be 5 dirhams. Parking is free. It will be running from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. at the Sharjah Expo Centre for trade and general visitors. So once again, a bit of a reminder that it's going to be from the 1st to the 4th of October 2020. And what another aspect that they're talking about is that several industry reports show that there has been a bit of a spike in people spending in the month of August. Is that so? Are you spending more? Let us know on the text lines 4215. And if you've got a particular phone that you would like to recommend me to now finally get rid of my 2 backup phones, then yeah, let us know on the text lines 4215. And we'll be right back now. After the news headlines, we'll continue the discussions and we will focus a little bit more on learning, because Badiri E-Academy has now been talking about their partnership program. What's happening? We'll be speaking to the education manager at the Badiri Education and Development Academy, Dr. Muna Al-Ali. So stay tuned to Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the morning Majlis. It's the morning Majlis.
Learning never stops, neither does development or enhancement of your knowledge base. And in line with that, Badiri Education here in Sharjah has been excelling and been at the forefront of offering online virtual discussions, online workshops, online courses, and making things a lot easier for us to realize the world after the pandemic. So Dr. Muna Al-Ali, she's the manager of Badiri Education and Development Academy, who's joined us this morning. Very good morning to you, Dr. Muna.
Hi, good morning, Abdul Karim, and thank you for hosting me on Pulse 95.
Well, it certainly is a pleasure. Let's start talking about what's happening at the moment. So we've seen a number of workshops taking place. What are the latest workshops that have been being held? Because we've seen that we've got new e-content partners as well lined up. What's the latest with the Badiri Education?
In Badiri Academy, we're continuing to offer workshops. We have almost every week there is a workshop that people can join and learn and advance their skills professionally and in their and also upskill their individual skills. For now, we're also going to launch a campaign. The campaign title is Become a Content Partner. Become a content partner. We are inviting individuals, content creators, institutions to become a content partner on the E-Academy.
In terms of what kind of content, could you elaborate on that?
Content can be resources, it can be electronic books, it can be quality courses or workshop. As you know, there are courses that have been offered in the last few months related to e-learning, and if an individual or institution think that they want to share that for Badiri, we can host them on our E-Academy, and that will it's part of their, I think, social responsibility, where they want to give that resource as course, or as I said, ebooks or courses online.
Are they free?
Everything we host on our E-Academy is free of charge, yes.
Amazing. Well, so this, what are the main benefits that people can take back from it? What can they learn if they do sign up for this?
For us, we launched the E-Academy in 2018, and it is a global E-Academy. So they will have a better exposure to the globe, so anyone from any part of the world will be able to host. We're going to also demonstrate show their logo, a brief about their company or them as individuals. So that would show that they are actually gifting something to the community, and also hopefully they will have, as I said, a global exposure.
Well, certainly is something to look forward to. But talk to us about the future plans. What are the new workshops that the Badiri Academy is going to be working on, and what else can we expect from your team?
We are finalizing our programs in October. At the beginning, we're going to offer a workshop about getting the most of e-learning, because there is a lot online, and then how they can get the most of it, and how they can choose the proper course or online resource, and how they can get the best of it. Also, we'll have a panel discussion where we're going to host global and local pioneers in e-commerce and digital marketing, and they're going to give their secrets in the e-commerce and digital marketing. As well as we're partnering with a school of life, and they're going to deliver a workshop on diplomacy. So we're trying to have a different workshop with different titles, so we target different audience group as well.
Well, certainly is something to look forward to. Well, thank you for joining us this morning, Dr. Munna, and hopefully we will be all signing up for the E-Academy and workshops as well.
And for people who would want to become a content partner, they can log in to badiri.ae, and they can find us in Badiri. There is a link called Contribute, and then they can know more about how they can contribute content with us.
Yep, and becoming content partners with the Academy and the students as well. So much to look forward to from that aspect. Thank you very much once again for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you on the show once again soon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Well, you too. Well, it's time now for us to prepare for the world of business news, and we'll continue the discussions right after that. So stay tuned to Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
I'm from the generation that grew up watching Flintstones and Jetsons as well. And that was the time when my parents used to say that when you turn about 20 or 25, we will have flying cars. And nothing happened. I was very disappointed. But now I see it all happening. And we've seen the automotive transport. We've seen how a number of government agencies have been releasing these aerial vehicles, and they're saying that this is what's going to happen. Uber started off with the Uber Chopper as well. So things were moving in that direction, and now they're taking a bigger step forward, because finally we have a flying car. introduced by a Chinese electronic company.
Yeah, it's like something out of a sci-fi movie, and we're talking about what the Alibaba-backed Xiaoping company is doing, investing heavily into flying car technology as part of its long-term strategy, and they are armed with tons of cash, $1.7 billion US dollars following their New York stock sale last month. They're saying they're developing a flying car to sharpen research into mobility, electrification, and digitalization. The vehicle, and they've unveiled it, the prototype as well. It's got 8 propellers and a capsule-like frame where the pilot sits. The vehicle represents a human-carrying drone. Doesn't look like an actual car. And the prototype was developed by Xiaoping High-Tech, a technology unit majorly owned by the company as well. And they are saying they're doing long-term research and development, and that the company's development strategy remains unchanged as well. It'll be interesting to see if one day flying vehicles become part of normal life and not just a gimmick.
Yeah, and it certainly is going to be a good fun for being part of that, really, and being owning it. So far, they're saying the altitude, it's designed for low altitudes, 5 meters to 25 meters, according to the company, the manufacturers, and this is going to be a very interesting development. But this is something that I would certainly love to own and be flying in. If you've got a specific idea or goal, or do you think when we can be living the life of the Jetsons? Let us know on the text lines 4215. Would love to hear your thoughts, and so much to discuss here on the Majlis now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also pretty interesting here to chart the growth of electric vehicles around the world. Xiaoping is not the only company doing flying cars as well. Another automobile group called Geely Automobile, the owner of Volvo Cars, is also developing its all-electric flying vehicle as well. So fierce competition in China. We've got one developed in Japan as well. So that might just be the future as well. Flying electric cars. Stay tuned to Pulse 95. We've got more discussions lined up on the program. Big interview as well with the manager at Badiri Education and Development Academy, all about empowering women in small and medium enterprises and entrepreneurs as well. So stay tuned for that and so much more on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. You're listening to Pulse 95. Pulse 95.
It's Pulse 95.